Traits like honesty, responsibility, respecting others' differences, kindness, cooperation, self-reflection. And I always wanted to write a children's book. But just like all of you authors out there, it's not that easy. And I just couldn't wrap my head around it for years, actually years. And then one day, the family was out to dinner. And one of the little kids started taking the straw that was in his milk and started flicking it at the table. And his older cousin said to him, "Hey, don't be that kid." And I said to myself, I have a title. Like you have to be creative and you have to have a title. I knew what my theme was. I knew it was character building traits. And until I got that title, I couldn't write the book. And think about the process that you took to write your wonderful books, your award-winning books. You went through the identical process that I went through. So now I had my title. Like you, who are my characters? Well, originally, they were going to be children. And then one day, I was driving and I stopped at a light. And "Don't be that kid" was always in my head. I was thinking about it all the time. Stopped at the light and I said, "Don't be that kid. It should be goats." So all my character in the book are little goats. Because I know that children like animals. What is my goat going to look like? Some of you have a lot more than just authorship. You're also illustrators. I didn't have that luxury. I don't draw very well. So I had to hire an illustrator, and I had to interview about 20 different illustrators to come up with the illustrator that I wanted. And then it took 2.5 months to get the kid. What do I mean by that? If you look at this kid's face, think about it. Throughout my book, the kid misbehaves. And when you read the book, you say to yourself, what is the kid doing? What is everybody else doing? What should you be doing? He has to be cute because he's misbehaving. Because if he's not cute, you're not going to like him. If you don't like him, you're not going to buy my book. Because the goal of every author is to sell their book. Now you may say to yourself, "Oh, look at all these authors, they make millions of dollars." When you're a real author, it costs money to create your book. Let's think about that. For some of you, in my opinion, wrote books that are good enough today to be printed and be sold. I have to tell you, I was impressed with the talent in this audience. I really was. And some others, if you beefed it up a little bit, you would have a book that you would be able to actually print and sell. Most children's books are 34 pages. How do I know that? I researched it. When you're an author, you have to do a lot of research. Number one, are there any other books called "Don't Be That Kid"? No. I had to find that out. So I did a search, and there wasn't. I was very, very lucky. Copyrighted it. What I learned, as soon as you write something, if you hand it to another person, legally, it automatically is copyrighted. So all your books, legally, are copyrighted. They are your books. Why do people pay money to get an official copyright? They do that in case someone tries to steal their idea, steal their book. But you really don't have to do that. I also decided to trademark. So don't be that kid is my registered trademark. No one else in the world, actually, can use don't be that kid but me. So those are some of the things as authors that you have to think about. Let me just read. Are you going to have a book that rhymes, or are you going to have a narrative? You have to make that decision, and you already did. Some of you did rhymes, some of you did poetry, actual poetry, which is one step beyond rhymes, and most of you did narratives. I'm an old goat now, but just like you, I was once a young kid too. Listen to my story of the bad things I did. Learn a lesson from them and don't be that kid. When riding to school, stay seated on the bus. Don't be that kid who causes a fuss. Keep your hands and feet to yourself when you walk down the hall. Don't be that kid who makes others fall. So, I had to make a decision. Because the kid is misbehaving, what kind of artwork do I want? I decided that I wanted it soft. These are decisions that authors have to make. Why did I want it soft? Because he's doing misbehaviors. You don't want it to be too harsh. I want you to be able, as you read through the pages, to find the kid and then look at everybody else on the page and say to yourself, what is the kid doing? What is everybody else doing? What should I be doing? So this scene is respecting others' space. And I'll just read you one more. Keep your eyes on your work, not on the next seat. Don't be that kid who's known as a cheat. What's the kid doing? Let's look at this girl. She's unhappy. You have to start thinking about some things that she can do to prevent that from happening. And what can the teacher do? So on and on in the book, the kid misbehaves. And then we get to the 16th scene. He doesn't play with others. He's not nice to the substitute teacher. He doesn't do his homework, on and on. But my favorite scene at the end. Each day I have a choice when I get out of bed. I won't be a bad kid. I'll be this one instead. So the kid gets up, looks in the mirror and says, who do I want to be as a person? What kind of a kid do I want to be? That's called self-reflection. And I don't know about you, but every single day of my life, I self-reflect. When I was a superintendent of schools, as I drove to work every day, I planned the day. It never worked, because when you're running a school district, there are no plans. I always had exciting days, to say the least. But going home every day, I self-reflected. What did I do that worked today? What could I have done better today to make it a better day? When you say to your parents, I'm bored, I want you to do a little self-reflection. What can I do so I'm not bored? It's your responsibility to have a good day. It's your responsibility not to be bored. It's my responsibility to have a good day. So, each day I have a choice when I get out of bed. I won't be a bad kid, I'll be this one instead. Originally, I wanted you to turn the page and there'd be a mirror. And you'd see your reflection in the mirror. but it wasn't cost effective. It added too much money to the book. And as an author, you have to make sure that people buy your book, and so it has to be cost effective. As an author, you have to be able to go with the flow. All along, I'm having a mirror, now I'm not gonna have a mirror. Oh my goodness, what am I gonna do? So I did a collage. And now he's doing all the right things. Interestingly enough, in my opinion, it turned out better. Because now you're able to look at the collage, you're able to refer back to the other pages, and you're able to make connections about honesty and cooperation and kindness. While I was writing the book, a friend of mine said, why don't you write a resource guide filled with activities that go with every scene? Well, she didn't have to do it. It was easy for her to say. But I said, that's a pretty good idea, a resource guide for teachers and parents. So for every scene in the book, I have activities separated into K1, 2, 3, and 4, 5. And then at the end of the book, a kid to color, something very important to me, a pledge. I pledge. What do you pledge? What kind of a kid do you want to be? And a family crest. What are our family values? What does your family believe in? What's important to your family? I see this at Thanksgiving when you're going around the table talking about what you're thankful for. Designing a family crest. What does our family stand for? What do we believe in? We believe in loyalty. Siblings can fight, but at the end of the day, you're brother and sister, or brothers or sisters. And we are loyal to each other because we are a family. In our family, we are honest. We believe in telling the truth. If we misbehave in my family, you're going to have a consequence. Suck it up and take the consequence because you misbehaved. But it's going to be a much easier consequence when you tell me the truth. So when you're an artist, when you're an author, you make decisions. Hardcover book or soft cover book. I made the decision to make the book hardcover. Why? Because it lasts forever. You spill juice on this book, you just wipe it off. I made the adult resource guide soft cover. Make it easy for parents to use, make it easy for teachers to use. So when you're an author, you have lots of decisions to make. You have to decide narrative, poetry, rhymes. You have to decide who is my protagonist, which means who is my star. What is this book about? You think of themes. For me, character traits. Once I have a character trait, each scene goes with the character trait. As I was looking at your books, I could see the themes. As I read these books this morning, I could understand your thought process and how you were getting to it. If any of you are interested in writing a second book, if any of you ever need help writing a book, I have my business card back there. All you have to do is call me. I will be delighted to meet with you. I just met with a Girl Scout about a week and a half ago who's writing a book, and her mother heard about me. Mother called me. I met with this girl, and I'm helping her write her book. So if you're interested, you can have an author work with you and help you. It will be my pleasure. I commend you for an outstanding job. What you did is not easy, and you're to be congratulated. Give yourselves a round of applause. Woo! Thank you.
Aww. Charlotte was being fine until Natalie messed with her.
Thank you, Lois.